thinking ahead to this week, yeah, tomorrow's going to be Persona Day. Then I think Kevin has the day off, so I'll not stream on Tuesday. And then we'll be back to Fire Emblem probably Wednesday and Friday, so that should be good. All right, let's jump into our visual novel since it is Sunday night. And this is how we do on the weekend nights. Yesterday we did a bunch of investigating, and I believe we are about to jump back into the trial. Hello, Trash. Happy Sunday. I'm hyped. This case rules, and we're really getting into the meat of it. Yeah, we really are. So I'm also similarly excited for that. Time for a bedtime story? Yes, sir. I would be happy to read it to you as one. Oh, I was just thinking to myself when I was up and I was talking to Kevin, I'm like, gosh darn, I am so hungover and low on energy today. So hopefully, I'm not boring you guys with my lack of pep today. Alright, let's go into it. Trial Part 3.
Boom.
Oh, you scared me, Rosen. Rosen, did you pick another game to play? Now that Octopath has been slain? And did you beat the secret boss? I have to know. Good morning to you, Mr. Naruhodo. Ah, good morning, Professor. Ready for today's proceedings? I hope so. I should be. Even I, with nothing left to... Good morning, my dear fellows.
Yes.
You're good. You streamed for a long time yesterday and lots of murder too. That's true, Trash. That is true. We did it. Yeah, Saturday streams do tend to be really long. You had to look at some strategies, though, because it was BS. And you literally just started Intergrade while I was on break. Oh, Intergrade would be so cool to play! Jealous. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, you're here. Why, naturally. A true gentleman stands shoulder to shoulder with his friends in battle at all times. Thank you. I really appreciate it. I'll see you later, then. Now, Professor, we really need you to remain calm in the courtroom today. Yes, do try your hardest not to enter the witness stand uninvited again. Yes, I will. I realize it was a mistake, but my dear fellows, I must interject. Oh, you're still here, Mr. Sholmes. What's the matter? Surely you've overlooked some praise, have you not? To be cast in my direction, sorry? I don't follow. Must I spell it out? I, the great Herlock Sholmes, the greatest detective of worldwide acclamation, arose at some ungodly hour to be here now. First thing in the morning. A miracle, you must agree. Well, if I must agree, then... As you know, my sleep is quite impregnable. Iris had to employ her full gamut of tactics. She pulled the covers off, shook me, poked both cheeks, punched me and kicked me from the bed. Then she poured a boiling cup of her latest experimental blend on my face, and at last I was bestirred. Oh my, Iris has been busy. Iris doesn't have it in her to go that far. She's too nice. Ah, I sense the spirit of a fellow scientist, one who relishes the infinite possibilities of blending tea. I'm the one worthy of praise here, not Iris. This is my victory. Sorry to cut in. Oh. Oh, Inspector Gregson. Good morning. Gregson, my dear fellow. Why the grim expression at this delightfully early hour? Oh, I don't know. Maybe because I've been confronted with a grimmer expression, eh? Dear me, are you going to take that insult lying down, Professor? What? I don't know! Poor Professor. Anyway, here's the paperwork you asked for. What paperwork? Ah, I took the liberty of requesting it yesterday. I have a feeling it may prove useful. You wouldn't believe the hoops I had to jump through to get this brought out of the archives. It's the professor's autopsy report. That mass murderers? Who killed 5 members of the aristocracy. Oh boy. He was found guilty in a closed trial 10 years ago now. It was all done under wraps, and he was quickly executed soon after that trial. It's all in here. Oh, this is gonna be interesting. I don't know what to say. Thank you, Inspector. Okay, wait. This is gonna be juicy. Science trope. There's a little metal plaque here, look. Fostering burgeoning talent for the future of scientific discovery. It seems rather ironic, doesn't it? But clearly Mr. Drebber really was a very talented scientist. Okay, so there's nothing, like, weird about this. Waxwork head that we can't remove thing. I'm excited for this reveal. Okay. Condemned prisoner, redacted for confidentiality. Pseudonym the Professor. Death by hang confirmed at midnight, June 17th. That's all there is to this? What? Okay, well. I think I was expecting something much larger. Yes, much obliged, Gregson. A slowly lot at the yard are just doing what we can, in the shadow of the great Detective Sholmes, of course. Well then, Professor Harebrained, this is it. Today, we're going to lay all this to rest at last. I wish you the best of luck, Professor. I suppose he'll be in here today, will he? Drebber. Yes, we expect the prosecution to summon him as a witness. I'm still amazed that you managed to find him in just one day. I really owe you both so much. Counsel and the defendant, the trial is about to resume. Kindly make your way into the courtroom at once. This is it then, the final chapter. Funny, my heart's racing a little. I've not felt this before, actually. This strange foreboding. So, didn't Van Zeeks say yesterday that his assistant was gonna join him in court today, which means we'll be facing off against Secret Kazuma. The final chapter, clearly he hasn't checked the chapter select screen. Yes, very much that. As if something's going to happen in this trial that I'm not ready for. But I can't let that distract me from the only thing that really matters. Finding the truth. Alright, here we go. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session again. We resume the public hearing of Albert Harebrained, here present, who stands accused of murder. Are the counsels for the prosecution and defense ready to proceed? There he is! Prosecution is ready, my lord. The defense is ready, my lord. As promised, Lord Van Zeeks, with his apprentice... Oh, has his apprentice with him. His apprentice with loss of memory. If I may, Lord Van Zeeks. Yes, my lord. There appears to be someone standing at your side. Ah, yes, my apprentice and assistant. The prosecution believes today's proceedings will see the complexity of this case rise considerably. Oh my god. Tell us it's Kazuma without telling us it's Kazuma. I therefore instructed my assistant to attend to ensure the smooth running of the trial. We are here, it's time for Peak Fiction. Yeah, I'm excited for this trial story time. Welcome back. How did your, bracket go? And the smooth running of liquid refreshments by the look of it. The way he holds himself, the way he moves, it couldn't be anyone else. But he's still suffering from amnesia, so there's really nothing we can do at the moment. I know, but, oh, this is so very hard. It would appear the prosecution has done a fine job in responding to the demands of the court made yesterday. I understand you have successfully secured the engineer who disappeared from the scene on the day in question. Yes, my lord, I intend to call him as a witness shortly. Very good, very good. Now then, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, who have been chosen at random to represent the will of the people in this courtroom today, are you ready and willing to proceed? Of course, my lord, I'm sure we all understand the importance of doing our civic duty. I do so despise deception and deceit. I find it so very wearing. To take a man's life with a conjuring trick, it is against the magician's code, and not to mention the law. Any fake scientist should feel the wrath of God, if you ask me. We have to listen to what's said on both sides of the fence, and, then settle on one. That's it, isn't it? She's pretty. Yes, the corn-eating girl? Indeed. Indeed, trash. Wasn't like this in my day. Wasn't like this at all. If all parties are ready to proceed, you may begin, Lord Van Zeeks. Before I do, my lord, there is a report I must read to the courts. Yesterday at the Great Exhibition Grounds, the evidence of primary importance in this case, the super high voltage instantaneous kinesis machine, which was installed on the experimentation stage, right? It blew up. I forgot about that. Was deliberately destroyed in an explosion affected by an unknown person or persons. It was what? An explosion? This is an outrage. Yeah, doesn't that violate their act that protects scientific machines? Or they lifted that already so that people can investigate it, so maybe it's not breaching the law. Yes, I heard this grave news yesterday. Scotland Yard submitted a report to my office in the evening. I read that the machine was blasted to smithers, and the wreckage reduced to ashes... in the flames. I have here a photographic print of the scene, taken in the wake of the explosion. It shows what little remains of the machine. Yes, a terrible business. Did not destroy the evidence, did he? He did it to destroy the evidence, did he? That Enoch Drebber. The court will take this print as evidence, counsel. I should like to look at that, actually. So... okay, wait, the grills are open now. Which means, okay, he dropped through there. Okay. Really quick, guys, I'm gonna just grab a little throat lozenge, because I can already feel that this is gonna... the voice acting is gonna affect me long term, so just 1 second. Yes, very that. That was Rosen, I bet. Yep. Oh, about the stage. Okay. Late yesterday afternoon, prosecution afforded to the machine by the Special Dispensation for Scientific Equipment Act was revoked. However, before a thorough investigation could begin, the invention was obliterated from existence. As such, this will become a very different trial. As it stands now, with no evidence on which to draw meaningful conclusions, the authenticity of the kinesis machine will remain forever in obscurity. Indeed, a most unfortunate state of affairs. However, one thing remains clear. The victim's death was the result of the actions of the accused. Of that we can be certain. For it was the accused himself who was operating the machine, and who ultimately caused its loss of control.
Objection!
As Lord Van Zeeks rightly says, this is a very different trial now. The accused accepts responsibility for his part in the events that transpired. He acknowledges that Mr. Asman died as a result of the accident caused by this machine's malfunction. John Cena got naked on stage at the Oscars? Suddenly I'm very interested in the Oscars. However, unbeknownst to the professor, he was being deliberately deceived by a pair of very clever fraudsters.
Pardonnez-moi.
Everyone's like, oh? Names, counsel, if you please. The engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, and the victim himself, Mr. Odie Asman. So what exactly were these two men up to behind the defendant's back?
My greatest achievement.
The defense intends to expose that information, thus establishing the unequivocal innocence of the defendant. It's Fumir 2. I had a feeling you meant that. Fumir 1 is still funny, though. Thank you, counsels. The positions of the prosecution and the defense have been clearly stated. There's a pic on the Discussing Film Twitter account. You can link it, Dots. It's fine. At once, my lord. The prosecution calls the engineer, Mr. Enoch Drebber, to the stand. Okay, wait. We have to see it. Oh my goodness!
Oh my goodness!
Well, I mean, I'm not gonna lie.
Oh my goodness!
He's been, like, he rustles in just, like, a Speedo or like, shorts. So this isn't that revealing compared to, I feel like, other mediums that we've seen John Cena in. Have you guys seen that whole thing with him with his OnlyFans? He's, like, totally being, like, super suggestive about it. It's very funny to follow. Really, really good publicity stunt on his part. State your name and occupation for the court. Name, Enoch Drebber. Occupation. Hard to pin down, I would say. Oh my god, these animations. See that black monocle? Yes, why do I feel as though I've seen it somewhere before? Oh, you too? I had exactly the same feeling myself. Your file indicates that you are currently being investigated in connection with another case. The theft of the waxwork model, is it? A most extraordinary sounding business. But that has no bearing on this trial, I assure you. Cleave it from your mind. We're familiar with the public experiment carried out at the Great Exhibition some days ago. The accused super high voltage instantaneous kinesis demonstration. Yes, you could say that. I am aware of it. There was a terrible accident, wasn't there? It was you, Mr. Drebber, who constructed the vast machine used in the experiment. Or so our investigations indicate. Can you confirm your involvement? Yes, I constructed it in precise accordance with the blueprints, but that's all. Then the court would be very interested to hear your thoughts about the machine, I'm sure. An amazing device, if you ask me. The pinnacle of modern science, making instantaneous kinesis a reality at last. What? Good gracious, do you mean to say that the experiment was bona fide? Is that your belief, sir? Yes, that is very much my belief. Such a waste that it blew up.
The enemy!
Hey, Lisa. Happy Sunday. Super lethargic potato Sunday. Many drinks were consumed last night, and it was one of those mornings where you wake up and you're just like, I am never drinking again. But we all know that's not true. I do sound tired, yeah. I have a little bit of a headache, and my throat was starting to get a little raspy with reading this, but it's fine. We're good for now. Yeah. Okay. We've already established the machine was nothing more than a prop for an elaborate conjuring trick.
Objection.
You stayed awake till 4 p.m. and then you flopped? Oh my god, Lisa. You've established nothing of the sort. All that was shown during yesterday's proceedings is that the same outcome could have been produced by some means of stage trickery. The defense merely proposed
how awful!
a method and demonstrated its feasibility, nothing more. You woke up at 1 a.m. Oh my god, Lisa. Your sleep schedule is beyond messed up. But... We procrastinated long enough, I feel. Witness, you will now give your formal testimony about the machine that you constructed for the purpose of the demonstration at the Great Exhibition. Understood. I met the young professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction. He provided me with the blueprints, and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Tell
Welcome
me, did
to
the victim
my
have a
garden.
twin? Lurking because you don't want to spoil yourself? Oh, fair. Yeah, and this trial is really heating up. I think it's going to conjoin several plot points that are involved in Great Ace Attorney 1, so... Although, Lisa, did you ever beat Great Ace Attorney 1?
Delightful.
All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads, and then crashed headfirst into the Crystal Tower. You did Chapter 1 and 2. Gotcha. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. A body double? That goes without saying, surely. To give the impression that something was moved when it really hasn't. It's a basic conjuring principle. The deception cannot be achieved without substituting the original with a fake at some point in the performance. Like, I don't know, a wax doll, maybe? But would I be right in saying you haven't managed to establish anything along those lines? Ugh. Incidentally, the prosecution has already confirmed that Mr. Asman had no twin siblings. It's my understanding that this witness is well versed in conjuring artfulness. But such talents do not indicate that he was actually able to accomplish what he claims. Namely, the construction of what, by all accounts, must have been an extremely complex scientific machine. Whatever do you mean? Yesterday's proceedings brought the true nature of your past exploits to light, Mr. Drebber. Indeed it did, my lord. As a swindler who preys on innocent scientists to elicit government grant money through conjuring know-how. Yes, it's true that I possess considerable knowledge of stage magic. But, crucially, my scientific knowledge more than matches that of any academic in the field. Investigation of the witnesses' workshop attests to that claim, my lord. As evidence, the police found this Royal Society trophy for young talent in science there. Yes, that's true. We spotted it ourselves. If a hypothesis is sound, it can always be forged into a physical manifestation with sufficient skill. Though I may have sold the secrets of some deceptive wiles to sniveling, talentless scientists in the past. Why would you therefore assert that the explosion of the machine was an unfortunate accident, or, of course, a deliberate act of murder carried out by misuse of the science? Counsel for the defense, your cross-examination, please. Yes, my lord. I met the professor approximately 1 year ago through Mr. Asman's introduction. So you were already acquainted with Mr. Asman himself? I'm getting hungry. Not really. By chance, I'd seen his name mentioned in the papers, that's all. But I had no interest in his private affairs. If he was an unscrupulous investor, it was no concern of mine. As long as people pay their bills, I take up my tools and construct what they ask for. So why did Mr. Asman approach you in particular, then? Who can say? I presume because my name is associated with excellence in engineering. Not to mention excellence in fraud. Hard to gauge, but the point is, all I did was construct the machine according to the blueprints I was given. In other words, the kinesis machine was built, on solid scientific principles. Yes, you might say that. Professor Hairbrain certainly has a mind like no other. He provided me with blueprints and I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trick.
Hold it!
It's clear that you have both scientific knowledge and knowledge of conjuring magic, however. The more knowledge you have, the better equipped you are to handle whatever comes along. But your implication is that I furnished the machine with some trickery, I think. Hey Mitch, happy Sunday. It's a possibility that we have to explore. Unfortunately,
Happy birthday.
Do you like the way this guy moves?
Actually, Tux. Not my thing, no.
Everyone reminds you of Tux these days. His animations are amazing.
Robot?
He's like acting like one. He's just a freaky, sketchy, crazy person. Like everybody else in this game.
Going,
Unfortunately, though, the machine has been blown to Kingdom Come. So there's really nothing left to explore, is there? It appears that the kinesis machine was fitted with a timed explosive device of some kind. And there's nothing left of that device either. Not a single shred of evidence remaining, I hear. He must have planned all this from the outset. I mean, he's literally the one that blew it up. But in any case, it's abundantly clear that the experiment couldn't have been a trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Did the victim have a twin? Of course, that's it! Mr. Asman has a twin!
Objection.
Perhaps my learned friend wasn't listening earlier. Mr. Asman had no twin siblings.
I can make him coffee. The espresso machine or the other one?
Are we 100% positive that Iris isn't the victim's twin? See a bit of like a height and hair difference. I don't know. I will say, I feel like I've speculated a lot of things about this case and we've kind of figured a lot out like ahead of time. I don't know how the game is gonna handle this. Like, this is a picture of him dead. Someone must have examined him. He's bleeding. So, like, this is a person. This is not a wax doll. Is this the real... I feel like the only way that this works in my head... The only way this works in my head is that this guy staged a death so that he could escape the law or be considered dead to the world. But that would mean he's at large and somebody else died in his place.
No.
Even if it's not a twin, they could have just made them look like him. But we didn't really talk about anything like that in the investigation, so I'm kind of like... How is it gonna play into this? And, on top of everything else too, we don't know how this... We literally, this is gonna be a gag, and I don't know what they're going to gag us with. So... Yeah, definitely there's a lot here that I'm still like, what's going on? No, I heard you before, but the thread of hope hadn't quite left me. The demonstration could have been a trick, if there was someone who looked sufficiently like the victim. But Dr. Scythe absolutely ruled out that possibility. Oh. It is quite beyond the question that the victim himself, Mr. Asmund, did move from the stage to the Crystal Tower. The fingerprints found at the scene attest to the fact. If I guess the identity of the professor, I will eat a shoe. Who did I say yesterday that I thought, like, the two options for the professor's identity were? Mikotoba, which would be insane. And... Oh, Van Zeeks. Van Zeeks was my other guess. Yeah, I'm not sure... I'm not sure I know who else. Oh, he was another one that I was thinking about. Strongheart. Yeah, we'll see. So it can't have been orchestrated using someone who looked identical to Mr. Asmund, then. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, no, nothing. Just that the idea of someone who looked identical to the victim is playing on my mind. All the spectators were All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and then crash headfirst into the Crystal Tower. It crashed headfirst, you say? According to the many witness reports from those there were at the time, yes. Were you not there at the exhibition grounds on that day? Unlikely. I rarely leave my workshop. Yet another of your unique inventions was found at the scene. Well, it was the unveiling of a machine I'd labored over for many months. I saw it clearly with my own eyes, the birdcage plummeting first into the tower. Okay, so he changed his story. What a surprise! I believe the victim's neck was broken from the headlong fall, wasn't it? How would you come by that information? Even an infernal recluse like me reads the newspapers, you know. According to the reports, 2 injuries were apparent on the victim's body. Yes, he'd been stabbed in the chest by a screwdriver believed to belong to the defendant, and he had broken vertebrae as a result of a fall from a considerable height. Correct, my learned friend has been doing his research, it seems. Do we know which injury was the fatal one? Sadly not. Forensic science is not yet at a level where such things can be determined. What we do know is that the victim died having sustained both injuries at some point during the experiment. And since he was found in the birdcage with his neck broken, it's obvious that he fell from a considerable height. Oh, unless... Asmund is like a mobster, isn't he? He could have killed somebody, broken their neck, and then dressed them up like him. I suppose that's hard to deny. A terrible accident, I grant you. Perhaps the science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow. Hold it! So you understood the science, did you? Not in the slightest. Oh, right. As I've said a number of times, I'm an engineer. My job is to manufacture according to the blueprints I'm given. I would be inviting manifold problems if I foolishly allowed my brain to digest the ideas behind them. I could be accused of stealing those ideas, for example. But how is it possible to construct a machine without really understanding the principles it relies on? Well, you are practicing law without really understanding the principle it relies on, aren't you? Damn! Very good point. Stand up for yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. The point is, the experiment resulted in instantaneous kinesis taking place, and as such, the science must be sound. Yes, and really, experimental results are all that matters when it comes to proving a hypothesis. I'd resign as a lawyer, yeah. Jeez. He's certainly very sure of himself. What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, now that the machine has been completely destroyed by yesterday's explosion, it's going to be impossible to argue its authenticity one way or the other. But if we're unable to establish that it was a piece of stage trickery rather than genuine science, we will have no grounds on which to demonstrate Professor Harebrain's innocence. Both Mr. Asman and this man in the stand tricked the professor and used him. They took advantage of his naivety and his unbending belief in his work, and I won't let them get away with it. Seeing as the professor is an old friend of Lord Van Zeek's, what on earth must he be feeling towards Trevor? Okay, so we've pressed everything. I feel like the points that I want to press with him or present against are where he talks about the body double or that the science is flawed. So let's read the statements again, and then we'll look at our evidence and, like, figure it out. Provided me with blueprints, I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was a trick. If the whole show was a fraud, it would have required a body double. Did the victim have a twin? Screwdriver. Photograph of the balloon. Remember when I almost didn't see this crossbow bolt? Amazing. It's tricky. The wood cage that was used for the demonstration and crashed down with the victim inside into the crystal tower. Now wait a minute. Wait a minute. This is a headrest, right? And these are the straps that put the guy in it? He told us that he fell head first, but this part at the bottom here is where his feet would be. Okay, I think that's what we're gonna use. All the spectators saw the birdcage appear above their heads and crash head first into the
Delightful.
crystal tower. Okay, okay. I would like to present to you, sir. Steven, how do we feel about this witness? I think his animations might be some of my favorite that I've seen.
Objection!
Yeah, objection, freak. We've examined the birdcage that crashed into the crystal tower ourselves. You hate him and his hair? I kind of like him.
Because they're college days.
Oh! You think Steven was a steampunk crazy person in his college days, Kevin?
Hair and monocle.
Well, he didn't call you Natalie, so I think you guys are progressing in your friendship. I actually played GAA2 with the Japanese voices because I was curious. Yari! I didn't know that's how you say objection in Japanese. As you can see, the cage, which is a wooden construction, has sustained damage in one particular spot. Steven's like, I also have played in Japanese before, so yes. Bless you, Kevin. So what you're saying is Van Zeek's voice is like the voice I gave him. I apologize in advance. My voice acting today is like very scaled back because I'm trying to conserve vocal cords. Following the explosion, it fell some 30 feet into the glass of the crystal tower. Yeah, honest to God, I am just so hungover from yesterday and like overtired from staying up too late that I'm like, bleh. That level of damage is to be expected, surely. Yeah, it's so bad. I agree. The damage itself is entirely understandable. The perfect storm with numbers, yes. What doesn't make sense is the location of that damage. All the breakages in the wood are at the base of the birdcage, not the top. What are you saying? That's the opposite of where they should be. That's right, my lord. The birdcage that was at the scene is damaged at the base. So we have reports of the birdcage falling headlong into the crystal tower, yet the damage is at the bottom. The only way to reconcile these two facts is to accept that there were two bird cages in play that day, which were at some point switched. Switched during what wasn't a scientific experiment at all, but an elaborate piece of stage trickery. Gah! Good gracious, explain yourself, witness! If we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. What does my cup say? Oh, it's very cheesy. It says, back to the grind. Because I'm a gamer. And coffee. Yeah.
They're unique and they're smart.
Yeah, Kevin made, we have like an instant espresso machine. So, Kevin made a little latte for me. That's a joke in Yakuza 8. Oh my goodness. Pro caffeine, yes. I hope you have Back to the Grind mug with you when you play Yakuza 8. Okay, I will make sure that I have it on stream when we do. If we examine the facts, there's only one logical conclusion we can draw. The damage on the base of the birdcage clearly indicates that it crashed tail first into the tower. But multiple witness reports claim it fell head first. Birdcage materialized in the sky next to a balloon flying over the stage, following a spontaneous explosion at an altitude of some 60 feet above ground level, which is approximately 18 meters. It then proceeded to fall some 30 feet into the crystal tower in the ensuing deflagration. Witness reports amid such chaos are notoriously unreliable. But the victim's neck was broken. He plummeted 30 feet inside a heavy wooden cage. However he fell, it would be unsurprising to find one or two of his vertebrae crushed. Jam. Ka. Oh yeah, Jam, you're gonna like this guy. Have you seen this character yet? Like, were you watching? Wait till you see his animations and the way he moves. He's fucking hilarious. A riveting scientific analysis of events from the prosecution there.
Magneton.
Though, to be even more rigorous, you would have to say it was only one vertebra, actually. Wait. They are, yeah, the gear noises. He wasn't quiet for long. I find it hard to see what's motivating Lord Van Zeeks. This witness is clearly a swindler, and one who deceived a personal friend of his. You're going to establish this deception? Do it right. Sorry. I feel like that's the undertone here. Ah yes, and there's one more point. The defense appears to have forgotten. It obviously wasn't a trick, as a certain truth very plainly demonstrates. What? It seems to me that the cross-examination had better continue until we resolve this matter. Mr. Drebber, you will amend your testimony with details of this truth. Of course, we must treat the matter scientifically, after all. Ugh, I nearly had him there. What is this one? We had not seen this yet. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from.
Hold it!
What do you mean? Well, before the demonstration began, the victim was alive on stage in front of the audience. Yes, there are lots of witnesses who saw Mr. Asman on the experimentation stage, that's true. And the victim's neck broke as a result of an impact following the fall. Logically, therefore, the victim must have fallen from somewhere. The balloon that exploded was at an altitude of 60 feet. The point of impact on the tower was 30 feet up. That difference of 30 feet is therefore the total distance the birdcage fell. And there's no other location from which the cage could have fallen that distance if it didn't drop out of the sky. Yes, it was in the balloon! Ergo, the victim himself must have been beamed from the stage into the sky above the crystal tower. A trenchant scientific analysis. Dear me, every time I hear it explained, it sounds increasingly plausible. Oh yes, it's all very well thought out. Certainly all the spectators on the day saw it. The birdcage plummeting 30 feet through the air, I mean. Irritatingly, yes. Okay. So... I am so happy that we can do this. I think Dots told me that I was able to do this. And I didn't... This is the first time we are doing this, and I needed this the whole game. Okay, so... The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Like, this is obviously... I mean, I think we already kind of knew that it was hidden inside the balloon. I must sleep, but I hope you enjoy the rest of the case. Okay. Sounds good, story time. Have a good night.
Bye!
So, if we're talking the balloon, is it better for me to present this photograph of the balloon, or the piece that proves there was the balloon there? I'm gonna try the photograph.
Objection!
Oh, nope. I got a generic. There's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. It kind of has to be...
Objection!
I am wrong again. Okay, this isn't good. Now I'm out of guesses. I mean, we know it's the balloon, but I don't really have evidence that the game is gonna accept for that right now. Kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. The whole show is a fraud. It would have required a body double. The science on which the machine was built was flawed somehow.
Nyan Yai Club.
See, none of these are relevant to what we're talking about. This is all, like, later in the trial stuff, I think. I mean, I couldn't use the experiment sketch, could I? Like, this shows that there are air balloons in the air. Like, I can't believe I can't just say, like, yes, there is an air balloon that had a cage inside it, and it blew up and dropped it. Hmm. I'm gonna let this proceed and reread what they say afterwards. Certain of himself, what do you think? Provided me with blueprints. I constructed the machine to his precise specifications. It was no trouble. I feel like because this is the new statement, this has to be what I press against. The kinesis clearly took place because there's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen from. Presenting the piece of the balloon did not work, and presenting the photograph of the balloon did not work. What else could possibly even be related? The sketch? Oh, unless... Hold on, the platform was 30 feet in the air, right? So maybe the photograph...
Objection.
Surely something about that last statement seems odd, doesn't it? Shoot. So we tried. I thought maybe this photograph would show that maybe it had fallen from here, and that was a 30-foot drop. But that also just got denied, so now what? I'm like, if this doesn't work, I don't know what else. don't even think this proves my point. More specifically, I feel like the most specific you can possibly get is this. This literally shows a balloon. But this didn't work, so... There's nowhere else 30 feet high for the birdcage to have fallen.
Objection.
This one worked? Okay. This is a diagram of the experimentation stage and its surroundings. We know that somehow the birdcage appeared in mid-air before falling down into the crystal tower. I'm very surprised that this is it and not the picture of the balloon. A fall of about 30 feet, or 9 meters. However, if you examine the diagram carefully, you'll see that there is one other possible location from which the birdcage could have fallen. The same distance of 30 feet. No. Didn't we already talk about how the cage could have come from one of the balloons in the... before they dispersed the trial the last time? Well, it appears the defense has a possible explanation to put forward. Go ahead, counsel. Yes, my lord. Of course. You will indicate the place to which you are referring on the same diagram. The alternative location from which the birdcage could possibly have fallen the requisite 30 feet.
Take that!
If it had fallen from here, the birdcage would have plummeted the same 30-foot distance.
Objection.
If that's my learned friend's claim, I suggest he demonstrates for the court, personally. Huh? And you may consider this a parting gift. Oh, what? Wait, what? Not the air balloon? Nani? Alternate location from which the birdcage could possibly have fallen the requisite 30 feet. I don't believe it. I don't know what to say now. Am I supposed to say here? Because it fell here? I'm gonna try it.
Take that!
The place I'm referring to is here. But that's where the birdcage would have been to begin with. Which is exactly the point, my lord. Yes, the birdcage was in the machine on the stage. But what we must also consider is the height of the stage itself. Okay, so the logic and the thinking was there. Go on, counsel. It turns out that the experimentation stage was built a considerable height above ground level. If you look at the diagram, in fact, you'll see it's about the same height as above the ground as the balloon was above the crash site. When the experiment got underway, the machine and the birdcage were engulfed in steam. Yeah. At that moment, the floor of the stage gave way, and if we assume there to be a void underneath, this birdcage and the one seen by the audience could not have fallen, would have fallen almost the exact same distance. Got him. Alright. Once again, my lord. Yeah, we are solving murder, Thomas. This all points to the fact that there was not one birdcage, but two. My learned friend has no evidence that the stage had such a contrivance in its design. Someone is responsible for the criminal destruction of the kinesis machine itself, it's true. However, the stage still stands. And take a moment to look at the photographic print of the scene following yesterday's explosion. Good lord, the metal grill that formed the floor of the machine is undone. Yes, most likely blown open by the force of the explosion that destroyed the rest of the machine. The defense calls for the space below the stage to be investigated immediately. Mr. Drebber. It was you who built the kinesis machine, which means it was you who built the two bird cages that were used to carry out this deception. Whether Professor Harebrain's hypothesis is sound or not makes no difference, because it's the construction of this machine that matters, a machine designed to take Mr. Asmund's life. I think the victim was dissolved with primordial water. Oh, wrong trial game, Quinn. Quinn, are you excited for Chiori to come out? And lay the blame firmly at the professor's door, something that could only have been carried out by you, Mr. Enoch Drebber. No? Well, she's not husbando, so I understand. I think Nouvellette is getting rerun either at the same time or after. I'll pull for Kazuha. Oh. Thanks, Kazuma. If my learned friend has reached the end of his wild assertions, the prosecution would like to crush the defense's argument slowly, but surely. What? Your argument fails to hold water on two accounts. Two? Firstly, before and after the experiment, this witness went nowhere near the kinesis machine. Every relevant member of the staff from the exhibition has attested to that. And I believe members of Scotland Yard have also been on watch duty at every public experiment. In other words, Mr. Drebber had no opportunity to switch the alleged pair of bird cages. Why? No, why would he need to switch them? You put one in the machine for faking the teleport, and you put the other one in the hot air balloon.
Don't mind me.
Oh, someone was just, someone was throwing because they were doing changes with a read.
Mark. Well,
Oh, I didn't know you were so far back in Arena that you can see names.
oh.
Champion. You can't read names in... For you, yes.
Objection.
But I've already explained why he wouldn't have needed to. The nonsense with the crossbow, that doesn't bolster your case at all. The man who disappeared from the stage and the man who crashed into the tower are one and the same. The forensic investigation team's report is unequivocal on that point. Ah! And the second flaw in your assertion is a distinct lack of motive. Why would this man have wanted to take the victim's life? He had no reason to do so. A motive? Do I have to think of everything myself? I have here a contract provided by the witness. What contract is this, Lord Van Zeeks? The contract into which Mr. Drebber entered with the victim, Mr. Asman. It reads, Mr. Drebber is to receive 30% of all remunerations from government grants or other income. 30%. Certainly very favorable contractual conditions. And there was one very important provision bolted onto that clause. What provision? Mr. Drebber may only uphold his right on condition that both contracting parties are alive. In other words, if either of us were to die, the contract would become null and void. So you see, I had nothing to gain from Mr. Asman's death. The diametric opposite, in fact. Why does it sound like AI? Have you looked at him? Need I say more? The witness had neither an opportunity nor a reason to commit the alleged crime. In short, the possibility of Mr. Drebber having done as you suggest is nil. Ugh. Ah! It seems the defense's assertion was somewhat wide of the mark. Your voice is apparently feminine, or at least I've been called ma'am over the phone by telemarketers. Really? I don't think it's feminine. I mean, you talked during your Rebecca, or, Dorothy video, and that... Lord Van Zeeks, you will submit the contract as evidence, please. Well, that's gonna help us during a cross-examination, probably. It's true. If Drebber had no opportunity to switch the birdcage under the stage with the one in the Crystal Tower... Wait. Why... He couldn't have done it. And in any case, I have no idea what his motive might have been. There is one aspect of your argument that still holds true, however. There were two bird cages. The prosecution is unable to deny that. So I'm sure you're on the right lines, Mr. Naruhodo. And I've no doubt there are other aspects of your assertion that are undeniable truths too. Well, it would seem that the defense has no rejoinder to offer. Well, I must say I'm a little surprised. I came here to testify about the machine I built, and instead my reputation is defiled. But the prosecution's counter has set the record straight, I think. It's impossible that I'm the culprit.
Objection!
At the beginning of this trial, we believed that there was only one birdcage. Yet now we know that there must have been two. In other words, there was more to the demonstration than we realized at first. I think it's abundantly clear that the same applies to the culprit. Get to the point. Should I play this? I don't know, have you been paying attention, like, to the other times I stream it? Because if so, you might already be spoiled on everything. But if you haven't, then I mean, yeah, if you like Ace Attorney. The stage demonstration was constructed and set up in its entirety by you, Mr. Drebber. Therefore, it's inconceivable that you had no hand in the events that transpired. So if circumstances mean it's impossible that you could have carried out the crime yourself, it points to the fact that someone else was involved. Hey, Dammy. Happy Sunday, how's it going? Someone else. Counsel, are you suggesting? Yes, my lord. Mr. Drebber had an accomplice.
Objection.
Yeah, it was Mr. Asman. An accomplice now. Well then, I presume you're prepared for what's to come. Now that you're accusing not only this witness, but someone else of the most serious of crimes. If these accusations turn out to be false, then make no mistake. Prosecution will demand an equally serious punishment for your slander. Yeah. Well, counsel, do you intend to pursue this course and formally accuse another party of involvement in this matter? What do I do here? At the moment, this is little more than a hunch on my part. I don't know for sure if Trevor had an accomplice, or even if he really is the culprit here. One way or another, though, I have to make my position clear as a lawyer. I'm accusing everybody just like in Among Us. Well... So what's my stance gonna be? Did Drebber have an accomplice? Name the accomplice. The defense is ready to name Mr. Drebber's accomplice. Oh, fuck. I think I only have one little life bauble thing, too. Somehow the two bird cages must have been switched. Everything points to that. Yet, according to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility. Oh, wait. The forensics team lady? But that inconsistency itself is a clue. Counsel? My lord? You have received a stark warning already. If you are nevertheless determined, then I must now ask you to identify this alleged accomplice by name. So, your answer, please. Who do you claim to have been Mr. Drebber's accomplice? Oh my fucking god. Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. It's either Asman or her. The 50-50, what do I do? My initial thought was that he was the accomplice. Just guess correctly. Fuck it, we accuse the Bohemian boy. That would be truly crazy. I think I have to say Asman. But this line, I feel, is a hint. According to the coroner's report, that's not a possibility, but that inconsistency itself is a clue. I'm gonna say that I'm saying her, and I'm gonna be wrong. I hope I'm not wrong.
Take that!
Name of the person in question is... What's wrong, my Nipuri's friend? Surely fear doesn't bind your tongue. Ah, I'm wrong. Of course, I'm afraid, after all, naming her in this capacity is definitely going to make waves. A lot of waves. I could very well turn every single person in this courtroom against me. I'm sure it will be alright, Mr. Naruhodo. Thank you, Miss Susato. Ah! The enemy always appears larger than life, but you'll appear exactly the same to the enemy. Alright then, here goes. You've kept us waiting long enough. Your answer, Counsel, now! Wait, was I right? The person who colluded with Mr. Drebber in order to carry out this wicked crime is Scotland Yard's coroner, Dr. Courtney Scythe. Okay. What in blazes are you talking about? The head of the forensics investigation team and the coroner who have conducted the autopsy on the victim? Why, yes. We know there were 2 bird cages, so who could have carried out the switch to complete the illusion? The accident happened in front of a huge crowd of spectators, and the area was immediately sealed off. Then everyone, police officers included, were banished to make way for the forensic investigation team. When else could the switch have occurred? It can only have been in that team's presence. It's essential that the court determines exactly what happened following the incident. The defense demands that Dr. Scythe be summoned to the witness stand at once to testify. Horn noise. You got nerve, lad. Standing up there, dragging the yard's name through the mud. I didn't mean to. I know the woman very well. There's no better dead room worker out there. How dare you call her a criminal? My learned friend's imagination appears to be wilder than the East End at night. But the recklessness of your accusation aside, there's another grave problem with your argument. One which the prosecution demands you address at once. Grave problem? Oh my word? Who do you claim acted as the victim's doppelganger? What? Certainly, if the birdcage containing the body of the victim was exchanged for another, that cage must also have contained a body. Well, actually, no. Now that we've called out the coroner, we're able to use the wax doll theory, because if she fudged any details, she could have said that the wax doll was actually the victim when it wasn't, so I guess that's how that's gonna get tied in. The real wax doll theory, yes. Thank you. And yet, no missing persons or accidental deaths of anyone even remotely resembling the victim have been reported. Which means there was no one, dead or alive, who could have fulfilled the role of body double for Mr. Asmin. So wait, does that mean Asmin is the professor? It does, right? If my argument is that there were 2 bird cages, then there must have also been 1 person inside each. But I don't know if I've got an answer to this yet, have I? Thank you, Swan. Happy Sunday. Yeah, I'm doing okay. I'm really enjoying the game, but I have a bit of a headache and I just feel overtired. What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? Is it evidence or is it a person? Because I could name Madame Tuspels. Would I like to be a Regirock? No. What? I feel like this could go a lot of ways. What can I do to reveal how this body double stunt was achieved? I'm gonna name Madame Tuspel. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by revealing the identity of the person who acted as Mr. Asmon's body double. Oh, that's not... No, that's not... The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witness would only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared out of the explosion some 18 meters above the spectators? Ha! In place of Mr. Asmon in the second birdcage was... No! This isn't what I want! I'm fucked. I'm fucked. I thought I would be able to say to spells because she makes waxworks. Oh, I'm so screwed. Accuse Iris since we're already here. That would be so weird. Hold on a minute. I'm so sad. I don't want to say any of them.
You can't go back.
I actually can't go back.
Take that!
Even you're turning your back on me, Miss Susato. Alright, yeah. Yeah. Let me go back.
Guilty. 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 Guilty.
Guilty!
Kill me.
Yeah. I don't like that selection. Alright. Retry from the scene. Present evidence. Very well. The defense will address my learned friend's concerns by presenting evidence that reveals the true nature of Mr. Asmon's body double. Good gracious, evidence? I do hope this isn't filibustering, counsel. The court is expecting a name. If you think you have relevant evidence, present it now. The body double and the birdcage were hiding inside the balloon that was floating above the stage, which means that any witness could only have seen them from 60 feet away. So who was it that appeared in the explosion some 18 meters from spectators? Ah. Body double inside the birdcage was... Oh, I guess we just used the head. I was wondering if I was going to have to use this piece of broken glass, but we'll do this.
Take that!
We know that the victim, Mr. Asmon, was in the birdcage that was situated inside the kinesis machine on stage. And therefore, he couldn't have been inside the second birdcage. Instead, that contained something else. That's been described as a body double, which is what fell from the sky and crashed into the Crystal Tower. Yes, counsel, according to your somewhat elaborate version of events. And that body double inside the second birdcage was, in fact... It's alright, Mr. Naruhodo. You're ready for this. Just steel yourself and can come out with it. Thank you, Mr. Sato. I needed that. As I was saying, the body double inside the second birdcage was, as unbelievable as it may seem, that thing there. Wait, why is the exhibit here all of a sudden?
Objection!
Open your eyes and look into mine, my Nipponese friend. Now tell me, what are you playing at? And firm now, Ryunosuke.
Look into my eyes.
This is the first time... Oh, this is the time to show your Japanese spirit. As the court will observe, this is a waxwork model. A model, in fact, of an infamous London murderer from 10 years ago, the Professor. Hey, pause. Happy Sunday. Susato wants Ryunosuke to come out.
Objection!
Yeah, we're all waiting for it. You started by indicating the leader of the... indicting the leader of the forensic investigation team as an accomplice in this crime. And now you've moved on to indicting Waxworks. Yes, that's about the size of it. But why? And why this waxwork? It looks nothing like the victim. In fact, it could hardly resemble him less. What possible justification can you give? If you want to know why, ask Mr. Drebber. What? Just days before Professor Hairbrain performed his public demonstration, Mr. Drebber abducted this model from Madame Tispel's. Did you say abducted? And 2 days after the incident at the Great Exhibition, he returned it to the museum. Then the timing. Is this true, Mr. Drebber? At first, I couldn't see why Mr. Drebber would have stolen the waxwork and then given it back again. But now the reason is clear. He took it so that he could put it inside the second birdcage as a body double of Mr. Asmon.
Objection!
Are you hearing this, ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Are you hearing the defense's astonishing proposal? That the witness fabricated this vast machine with the intention of deceiving some wretched scientist. That he did so in collusion with the country's finest coroner on a public stage in front of a vast audience. And that, to effect the deception, he used A waxwork model that in no way resembles the victim. Are we really to believe this far-fetched tale? What do you describe?
Objection.
It is a good trial. Wait. Yes, if you put it like that, of course it sounds implausible. My lord. I need to speak, if you please. Yeah. Here we go now. Now we gotta convince the jury. Yeah. She stopped eating the corn. Yeah, she's not hungry. Go ahead, Mr. Foreman. Myself and my colleagues have reached an agreement. Very good. In that case, ladies and gentlemen of the jury, you will state your leanings for the court to hear now.
Guilty.
Guilty.
Guilty. Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Wow, they all said it? So, as indicated by the foreman, the jury has reached a consensus. I knew that was gonna happen. We shall get through this, Mr. Naruhodo. We always do. And uncover some new truths along the way, I'm quite sure. Or hairbrain, which is a brain of hair. Yes, I agree. I'm going to have to appeal to the jurors as usual and see if I can persuade them to change their minds. The defense will now embark on a summation examination. Are you and your fellows ready to proceed, Mr. Foreman? We'll accept the guilty verdict in exchange for some corn and some of Van Zeke's wine. I mean, Sholmes would appreciate that. We are, my lord. Very well. In that case, I ask you now to state clearly for all present to hear the grounds on which each of you has decided the defendant is guilty of the crime of which he is charged. Alright, here we go. I've known that woman for years. She'd never be an accomplice to anything. It's utter nonsense to think those two would ever be conniving with one another. Oh dear, this is most troubling. But surely the waxworks the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it? I have had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much. I've seen no rigorous proof that the waxwork was ever inside the birdcage. It's just conjecture. Accusing someone with outright evidences, he's not a proper job, is he? I won't have it at all. Somewhat unsurprisingly, it seems the introduction of this waxwork model to the proceedings has polarized opinion. Given that its face is obscured and its build in no way resembles that of the victim, I can only applaud my learned friend's temerity at suggesting it as Mr. Asmund's body double. Yes, the applause is deafening, and yes, I know it seems extraordinary, but that's the point. That's why I have a strong feeling it's actually a greater clue that no one than anyone realizes. What are you thinking, Mr. Naruhodo? I can't explain why at the moment, but I feel as though there's a specific reason why it was used. Why it had to be this model. Really? A reason why nothing else would, do you mean? Yes, and I'm convinced it's something far more significant than whether or not the model looked like the victim. Yeah, actually, I don't know. It would have to mean that Mr. Asmund is the professor or is related to the professor. So maybe there's like a resemblance. Or maybe... I don't know. I don't know that connection yet. Well, I'm sure the explanation is coming. Well, if that's the case, we must prevent the trial from ending prematurely at all costs. Yes, agreed. I have to find a way out of this. If you are ready, counsel, you may proceed with the summation examination. Yes, my lord. I know the woman for many years. She'd never be an accomplice to anything.
Hold it!
The order of things seems to have changed around here for some reason. I'm a copper lad. It's a copper's discretion to bend the rules sometimes when needs must. What's wrong with that? Where do I start? I've been working at the yard for 40-odd years. That's...
A crack.
Persona! Why, welcome back, Diamond. We've only had a metropolitan police service in town for 70 years, you know. Of course, times have changed. The public didn't trust coppers back when I started. It was rough. We had to fight crime, and we had to fight to win the public's trust as well, and we did win. Forensic science was in its infancy, too. Even more than it is now. And she spearheaded the revolution. Dr. Scythe, you mean? That's right. About 10 years ago now, it was, when I was still a youngish Bobby on the beat. That's when she started making a name for herself as a top-class coroner. And now look at her, head of the forensic investigation team. And a woman, no less. Well, you won't hear me complain. It's what we all dreamt of back then, I tell you. Could you tell me without holding that gun in the air? We were all out to uphold justice, lad. Full of vim, we were. Full of vim. That's coming across loud and clear. It's utter nonsense to think that the two would be conniving with one another. But we're only just starting to understand the case. What are you reading there, sir? The man behind those murders on Solar Pond Street was caught in 2 days flat. That's real policing for you. That's really not relevant to the case, is it? You're wrong there. Because it was Dr. Scythe in charge of examining the bodies. And it was evidence arising from her work that led to the arrest of the scoundrel responsible. Oh. That's right. Oh. That woman is at the forefront of this country's fight against crime. The idea that she's somehow involved in this murky business is a load of tosh. I thought it was up to me to press the jurors, not the other way around. Oh dear, this is most troubling, but surely the waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it?
Hold it!
Why would you assume that? Well, quite simply because that unsettling swindler has no relationship with the woman, does he? True, as it stands, we don't know of any connection. Oh gosh, but it would be delightfully romantic if they were somehow to have a mutual interest in the waxwork. Romantic? A woman of society such as myself views everything in terms of relationships, you know? Well, you learn something new every day, even if you don't want to. One might wonder about a possible relationship between the defendant and this coroner woman. Or perhaps between the defendant and the handsome prosecutor just there. This woman may be more astute than I've been given her credit for. If that's the woman's stance, then perhaps demonstrating some connection between the waxwork and Dr. Scythe would be enough. The defense and the prosecutor, my goodness. Yes, I agree. As soon as we have even a whiff of a connection, she'll be the first to know. I've had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them much.
Hold it!
I feel this is, like, totally irrelevant that he's even saying this. What sort of problems? Let's just say that we have run into each other on numerous occasions while I've been performing on the street. Right, I see. Obviously, artists such as myself cannot appear on stage as we work in close proximity to our audiences. So we perform our great magic in parks, on street corners, and the like. I mean, I haven't played any other Ace Attorney games twice, but I'm assuming they take place in Japan? 'Cause the only reason why there's jury people in GAA is because they're in Great Britain. Yep, Great Ace Attorney is the only one I've played. But the police use any excuse to make our lives difficult.
Excuse me.
The localization says California, but there's a lot of very Japanese elements. Wait, seriously? Add it to the list? Oh, it's already on the list, don't you worry. Do you have something to say in response to that, Mr. Ottermole? Who are you calling a mass murderer? Sorry, my mistake. I got confused because I heard you look like him. I don't look anything like the man. You want to be locked up, Sonny? Thanks, Mr. Sholmes. Perhaps we could move on. I was really wondering if you had something you wanted to add in response to what juror number 3 just said. And clearly you do. Back in my day, back in the good old days, it wasn't like this. What was it like, sir? We worked our fingers to the bone to earn the public's trust, we did. And by Jove, we earned it. People respected us back then. Respected you? No one would have called a coroner into question in them days. Coroner's report was the hallmark of an investigation done right, especially when Dr. Courtney Stevens put her name to it. She was the best of the best. Hey, hold on a minute. What are you talking about? Courtney Stevens? Sorry, got a bit carried away there.
Pardonnez-moi.
It's Pangy at the fighting game tourney. What do you mean? Are you calling me old? Stevens is Dr. Side's maiden name. Her maiden name. So that was before she was married. Pangy Stevens. Oh. Having a gun in a courtroom is crazy. Real talk, yes. That's just an evoker, though, Trash. It's for summoning his persona. Of course, yes, silly me. It's Scythe now, isn't it? Stevens. I'm sure I've seen that name somewhere recently. It's the Good Old Boys Club. Is this America? Yeah, he is this juror is super annoying, I agree. I'm sure I've seen the name somewhere recently. Anyway, the point is, those were the great days of policing, not like now. Sorry to interrupt, sir. But do you think you could change your statement to include that name? Well, yes, I don't see why not. It was Courtney Stevens back when I knew her. Of course, a legendary coroner, even. Not trust them much. I've seen no rigorous proof that this waxwork was ever inside the bird cage. It's conjecture. Alright, let's press. But you claim the whole instantaneous kinesis demonstration was a trick. That I did, but there's more than one way to pull a rabbit out of a hat, isn't there? Sorry? I grant you, given that this cage appeared from amidst an explosion, there'd have been no need to use a real person. But if a waxwork had been used, the culprit could at least have had the decency to make it look like the victim. I'm not sure exactly how much criminals are governed by decency. Point is, if you're going to make a claim about that waxwork being inside the birdcage, you need to give us some evidence. I have the piece of glass. Without that, it's just not science. I suppose we should expect nothing less than a logical argument from a fellow of the Royal Society, but that perhaps means his mind could be changed if we manage to present suitable evidence. Evidence that the Professor Waxwork was inside the birdcage. Can I produce that or not? I have the evidence. Actually, I have something I'd like you to see, sir. Oh? I must warn you that I firmly believe it's only wise to trust men in white coats. So given your jet black outfit, I don't mind admitting to a sense of trepidation here. So, you don't trust anyone in black? Looking in the mirror must be very tiring. I do have some evidence that proves the waxwork was inside the birdcage. Namely...
Take that!
What's that? Piece of glass? Though it's unusually thick for glass. Yes, it's a piece of broken glass that we found inside the jacket of the waxwork. As you say, it's not ordinary glass, though. It's very thick and clearly made for extra strength. Much like the special glass that was developed for the construction of the Crystal Tower. The Crystal Tower... Holy smoke! Exactly. The centerpiece of the Great Exhibition, where the very incident we're talking about took place. On the day in question, the birdcage fell from above the smashed... Well, it fell from above and smashed through the window of that special glass. From whence this small piece originated, is that it? Precisely. So, what do you say? Now that clear evidence in support of the assertion has been placed before you. Well, as I said, I only trust men in white coats as a rule. However, when the reasoning is sound, it's fair to say color shouldn't come into it. In light of what you've shown me here, yes, I feel obliged to change my position on the matter. In that case, juror number 4, you will amend your statement now, please. Presence of that piece of glass gives me in little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside the birdcage. Oh, okay, so I can pit him against the lady that said there's no connection. Accusing someone without right evidences, he's not proper, is he? I won't have it. I've been waiting to press you. I've got to ask, why have you brought that corn into court with you? Colonel Cobb, he's been growing back on the farm. Picked him off on me way into town. He's a proper nibbler, he is. Yes, the nibbling seems to be taking quite a while. Maybe it could wait until after the trial. Oh, I don't like the sound of that. You need colonels at times like these. Whenever I've some at big to decide, the colonels always point me in the right direction, see? We're talking about your cob of corn? Yum. Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble, nibble, not guilty, out. Nibble, nobble, guilty, bobble, nibble, not guilty, out. Okay. You can stop now. Perhaps it's akin to fortune-telling with the flower petals like people do back home. So Professor Hairbrain's fate is to be decided by a cob of corn. Could you not at least wait until we've had more time to find the truth before deciding the defendant's guilt? Oh, I don't know about that. My tummy's awfully full already. Amazing. Yeah, I think maybe we need another time bomb for her. I know it seemed a little far-fetched to think that the waxwork model of the professor was in the birdcage, but on the other hand, it explains a lot. If there really is a reason why that particular waxwork had to be used as Mr. Asmund's double, we must do everything we can to make the jurors understand it. Truth is, I'm sure that that's the key to this, but the most puzzling part of it too. In that case, you should see what additional information you can glean whilst trying to change the jurors' minds. If you can read a book whilst eating a rice cracker, Mr. Naruhodo, I'm sure you can do this. Right, yes. Hydrate! Hi, Frick. I actually do really need to get some more water. So let's take like a 2-minute break, you guys. I'm gonna get some more water and then we'll keep going.
It's tea time!
Alright. Right. Hello. Let us continue. So, we need to find two statements that are at
Hello.
odds with each other. She was Courtney Stevens back when I knew of her, of course. A legendary coroner, even then. Utter nonsense to think that these two would ever be conniving with one another. Surely the waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it? Had my own problems with members of the police. I do not trust them. The presence of that piece of glass leaves me in little doubt that the waxwork was indeed inside the birdcage. So, maybe him against the lady? Does that sound right?
Objection.
Those two statements are fundamentally at odds. Oh, Lord. Mr. Sato, no one's listening to what I'm saying. Perhaps this would be a good opportunity to rethink then, Mr. Naruhodo. Yeah. So, maybe I'm thinking not obvious, or not obvious enough, right? I could pin I don't trust the police much with... Oh, his statement changed. God damn it.
Objection.
No, I suck at this. Ah, this is a hard one. Oh boy. Okay. What happened when we pressed him?
Hold it.
Police use any excuse to make our lives difficult. Sometimes they even cook up a story to extort monies from the poor. That's definitely not right. Yes, and it is why I say that if you trust the police, you will have trouble. But here you are claiming this waxwork model was stolen to star in an illusionary spectacular. The idea is so wild, I think I will take my chances and believe the authorities on this occasion. This is how the public at large views Scotland Yard, is it? Our own police force in Tokyo is not even 20 years old yet, is it? Perhaps we should view what's happened here in London as a measure of what may happen at home. Yes, like a Scotland Yardstick. I wonder how a policeman would feel listening to the way this juror speaks about the force. I'm sure he'd have a word or two to say in response. Well, I already tried that and it didn't work. It's utter nonsense to think that those two would be conniving with one another. The waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner, is it? I don't know. Oh boy. Let's go back to the first statement. It was Courtney Stevens back when I knew her. A legendary coroner. Did we already press this?
Hold it!
Do you get anything new for pressing a revised statement? She was legendary, was she? What'd you say? That woman is still the best coroner in the land. Head of forensic investigation team. Legendary was your description, sir, not mine. Rubbish! That would never have passed my lips. I'd never describe anybody that way, ever. Not if they were still in the game. I think the point you're trying to make is that Dr. Scythe is an extremely talented coroner. Would that be fair? It would. If it weren't for the fact that you're trying to drag that legendary woman's reputation through the mud. I'm gonna pretend I didn't hear that legendary. Can you remember where you saw the name Stevens recently? I feel like it might have been one of the waxwork displays. Is that wrong? Because I tried looking at, like, the people in the court record, and none of them are Stevens. Might be worth browsing the evidence. Okay. Huh. The lost cat was Stevens. Oh look, the cover came open. Yes, now there should be a glass plate inside. You have to change the plate with each new photograph you want to take, see? Something wrong? There's no plate. It's been removed. Ah, what a pity. But I suppose if you think about it, this wouldn't be the actual camera that was used at the time, just like the waxwork isn't the actual person. So we'd never have a photographic print of the executed convict coming back to life anyway. Oh, yes, you're quite right, of course. Of course, Usato-san. She looks devastated. Whoop! Oh. Back to the table. Ow. I've done that. Poor Kevin. Oh, what the hell? What a wonderful machine. I really love contraptions like this, don't you? Main character's such a cutie. I know, he's great. Oh yes, anything mechanical I find absolutely irresistible. Almost irresistible, surely. Well, whenever I see a pocket watch, for example, I can't help myself. I simply have to take it apart. That's worrying. Yes, Father tells me time... Father tells the time by rumblings of his stomach now. He's given up on a watch. Poor Professor Mikotoba. Look, Mr. Naruhodo. What is it? On the bellows, just here, there seem to be some very dark red stains. Yes, you're right. It looks like blood, actually. Oh my. I'm sure it's not what you're thinking. Interesting. Well, there's blood on the camera. We didn't know about that. Alright. So, it's signed Courtney Stevens here. Surely the waxwork the man stole is nothing to do with the coroner. I mean... It is, but... None of these...
Objection!
Okay, I think this works. Those two statements are... they clearly contradict each other. Good gracious! To whose statements do you refer, counsel? So, juror number 2. Oh gosh, me? What can I do for you? I presume that you heard what juror number 6 said in his statement. It's brought to light the maiden name of the coroner, Dr. Scythe, which in turn has revealed a connection that wasn't apparent before. Well, naturally, as a woman of society, I find such connections and relationships irresistible. But oh golly, I'm afraid I fail to see what you mean, Dr. Scythe. Dr. Scythe's maiden name is Stevens. Oh. Lisa? And through that name, the coroner is very definitely linked to the waxwork of the killer. The defense has evidence to prove it. My goodness, evidence, you say? How utterly enthralling. Counsel, the court cannot overlook that last remark. I very much hope there is substance to your claim. Of course, my lord. I would ask the court to look at this. The evidence that clearly links Dr. Scythe to the mass murderer known as the Professor.
Take that!
I have here a certain autopsy report from 10 years ago. A 10-year-old autopsy report. What relevance does that have? It is, of course, from the autopsy of the person portrayed in the waxwork, the killer known as the Professor. The Professors? But the man was a capital offender. So... That's right. This is the certification of death that was drawn up after the convict's execution. The identity of the killer was never made public, so the report gives few details. But what's important is the name of the coroner who wrote it. Courtney Stevens. Oh my, Courtney Stevens? Strike a light! It appears that the Professor's autopsy was conducted by Dr. Scythe 10 years ago. A few days ago, Mr. Drebber had very deliberately stole the waxwork of the Professor from Madame Tispel's. A waxwork that doesn't, in fact, resemble the victim, Mr. Asman, at all. And do you suppose there's some unsavory relationship between those events? Absolutely, I'm sure of it. There's no doubt in my mind that the Professor case is at the heart of a link that we have yet to uncover between Dr. Courtney Scythe and Mr. Enoch Drebber. hidden links, mysterious connections, secret relationships. This is all most extraordinary. We're surely obliged now to explore this further. Quite right. We can't let this trial come to an end now. Not while there's this cloud of suspicion hanging over the yard's best coroner. It wasn't like this in my day, and we're still here to uphold justice in the end. Perfect. The professor, that's what links the frightful swindler and the coroner. This guy is interesting. So it's gotta... This guy's statement changed. So we're gonna pit him against the Corn Eater girl.
Objection.
These two statements are... clearly contradict each other. Good gracious! Whose statements do you refer, counsel? If you could put down the corn for a moment, juror number 5. Oh, you mean me? You've pointed out that it's wrong to make an accusation without evidence, but the accusation that the waxwork model was inside the second birdcage on the day in question is not without supporting evidence, as the defense demonstrated on... to the juror sitting beside you. Oh, is that right? Would it be fair to say you didn't follow the argument? I don't understand much besides Colonel Cobb, to be honest. Of course you don't. If I could interject here, please do, sir. Now that this assertion of yours about the waxwork has been backed up by some solid evidence, it would be wrong of me as a man of science not to pursue the matter further. Me too then. Sorry? If this Brady gentleman says he's right, then he must be. She just gets shot by the evoker. You trying to awaken her persona, Rosen? See, I wouldn't dream going against Colonel Cobb or anyone who's got stuff in between their ears. Now we take the corn and force her to listen. Success! If you can call it that. Thank you, counsel. That will do. As a result of the summation examination, the jury's overall leaning has changed. 2 jurors now call guilty, against 4 who call not guilty. Accordingly, the court has failed to reach a consensus this time. And the trial must continue. We did it! Oh, well done, Mr. Naruhodo. Another wonderful victory. A waxwork of the despicable professor, used as a body double for the victim, is quite the extraordinary case. I must say it's extremely hard to believe the assertion could possibly be true. However, it would appear that it does at least warrant further investigation. It's the waxwork of the professor that links Mr. Drebber and Dr. Scythe. And I'm convinced that there's a special significance to that link. I don't know what you're hoping to prove, lad. I really don't. The truth, sir, by using evidence and testimony. If the court is to delve deeper into the alleged involvement of the waxwork in this case, then the prosecution calls for the owner of the model to be summoned as a witness. Also, where's Dr. Scythe? We need her. The owner? Madame Tispels. I really thought that Lord Van Zeeks would object to this whole line of inquiry. Very well, I concur. Make arrangements for Madame Tispels to appear as a witness with immediate effect. Listen carefully, my learned friend. I know, I'm happy she's coming too. Oh, yes? You should know that you're on the brink of opening Pandora's box. E-tier? The court shall now adjourn for 45 minutes. During that time, the prosecution will summon the new witness and prepare her for taking the stand. Madame to spells, yes. I shall see to it at once, my lord. Okay. We're gonna go a bit longer. We're gonna go at least until dinner is ready, and then I'll probably end it. But I do want to get... I think this is a really interesting case. Probably the best Ace Attorney case we've ever experienced.
Dinner is served.
Yeah, oh, it's so good. E-tier, do you need me to deliver any information to Kevin? Oh, what's that? Wild Rifts? We'll see if I can convince him. But you owe me. The knight? Ah, the knight errant himself. Oh, have you been watching from the gallery, Mr. Sholmes? Stay free, Pang Tong. Ugh. Oh. That sounds like Tux. E-tier never uses my full name. Let's take a brief moment, to redispatch our Epic 7. I'm a Catalyst, grinder again. No, that would be Lisa, thank you. I've been on the edge of my seat the entire time. Courtroom trials are fascinating affairs. As a spectator, at least. I'm glad you've been enjoying yourself. I have to ask, what on earth is going on? It makes no sense. What's this professor business all about? He doesn't look like any professor I've ever met before. Who even is he? Ah, of course. You were in Germany already 10 years ago. Yes, the professor. When I discovered he was the one who had been abducted, a sense of foreboding stirred within me. But who knew the monster would come knocking at your door? My heartfelt sympathies. Ha ha ha! As it turns out, Lord Van Zeeks is even more intimately tied to this case than any of us realized, isn't he? Yes, how true. His great friend from university in the dock. And now a waxwork of the killer who took his esteemed brother's life makes an appearance too. I imagine even the shrewd Mr. Reaper failed to foresee that kick in the teeth. An extraordinary move on your part, my dear fellow, to throw that in front of the man. Make it sound deliberate. I can't help feeling that this professor case is really very puzzling. Oh, yes? In what particular manner? Well, there's Mr. Drebber, Dr. Scythe, and Lord Van Zeeks. It seems that everybody in the trial has a link to the case somehow. Yes. In fact, I alone am not a member of the set. So that leaves me as an empty set. All alone with no intersection to any other. Excuse me. Oh. Dr. Scythe! Ah, Dr. Courtney Scythe. Nee, Stevens. Good day to you. Hello, Sholmes. That was very shrewd of you. And in particular, what in particular, pray? You requested that 10-year-old autopsy report from Gregson, didn't you? Why would you assume such a thing? Because Gregson told me. To think it's been 10 years. 10 years in the laboratory, wielding my scalpel. I smell of nothing but corpses and disinfectant. Policeman on the jury had a lot to say about you as it happens, Dr. Scythe. And I've accused you of being complicit in what happened. I'm hoping that you'll take the stand and tell the truth about what really happened. That certainly won't be possible. Lord Van Zeeks won't be summoning me as a witness. Lord Strongheart has forbidden it. Lord Strongheart? The Pandora's box you were warned about is the Professor case. But please don't make the mistake of thinking you'll get any information about it out of me. But attempting to hide from the truth, that's cowardice. I've always fought crime in the way I see fit. I have no regrets, none at all. And that's all I came here to say. So, good day to you. Well, you'll have to be put on trial if you actually are an accomplice. We'll be bringing life to your swan. Oh my god. The poor swan. That character is dead, deado. She mentioned it too, this Pandora's box. Whatever does it all mean? There's really no cause for concern, I assure you. When the trial resumes, the meaning will become all too apparent, whether you'd like it to or not. Huh? Now then, I believe it's almost time. I must make my way back to the public gallery. The edge of my seat awaits! I think maybe you're enjoying yourself a little too much. Ah, yes, one word of warning before I go. If, in the course of the trial this afternoon, you perceive even a shadow of doubt about the truth, don't let it out of your sight. Pursue it like a dog with a bone. To the bitter end, you understand? Do not falter, whatever may come to pass. Alright, I understand. Thank you. Good, I shall make myself scarce then. I purchased a bar of caramel earlier, so I shall be gnawing on that as you gnaw away at the truth. Delicious. Did that warning for Mr. Sholmes really mean, I wonder? Especially the bit about whatever may come to pass. It's time for the final chapter, then. I'm determined to find the truth, no matter what. Alright, here we go. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby reconvene the proceedings of this court. Counsels for the defense and prosecution, are you ready and able to continue? The prosecution is ready, my lord. Yes, my lord. The defense is also ready. Oh, does she actually say it? There's so little voice acting in this game that surprises me. As the court is aware, the case under our scrutiny began with a damaging incident at the Great Exhibition. Yet now we find ourselves embroiled in this details of a conviction of a convicted fellow who was sent to the gallows a decade ago. That's funny. This trial has certainly defied all expectation, as seems to be the fate of all trials in which this Nipponese is involved, my lord. So then, let us begin our exploration of the defense's assertion that the waxwork was cardinally involved in this matter. Lord Van Zeeks, my lord, are we still awaiting the arrival of Madame Tispels? Not at all. She is in the antechamber as we speak, ready to be summoned. Very well, bring in the witness! At once, my lord. Bailiff, show Madame Tispels to the stand. Things are about to become a lot more intense. If Drebber is responsible, as I'm sure he is, it means he must have an accomplice in Dr. Sight. And what connects the pair of them is this waxwork. Yes, the model of the professor. That's the key to the link between these otherwise unrelated individuals. It's a tenuous link, admittedly, but at present, it's all we have to go on. She's making a Sholmes. State your name and occupation for the court, please. My name is Madame Esmeralda Tispels. I am a waxwork artisan and the proprietress of the Madame Tispels Museum of Waxwork. Yes, E-tier. You'll have to pardon me for working as I testify. My new exhibit must open very soon. Oh, so he finally gets a statue, does he? Now there are 2 of them in the world. Ah! E-tier is drunk. And we stan. Oh, she is? My goodness. Literally the only sober one yesterday? Yeah, that was a mess. Oh my. What expression is she carving into that face? True, Stephen was sober. A number of days ago, a particular waxwork model was stolen from your museum. Can you confirm this? Oui, that is true. At first, we believed it had been kidnapped. A waxwork model kidnapped? Yes, my lord. There was a demand for ransom money left behind by the culprit. However, according to what I've just been told outside the courtroom, that was not the true reason. His hand gesture? You mean the one where he's like... That's my fave. I understand it was utilized as a substitute for the body of a murder victim. At present, that is no more than conjecture proposed by the defense. This is the victim in the case in question, Mr. O.D. Asmin. But of course, I know him very well. He is part of my odious personages exhibit. I detest to say what is evident, that Mr. Asmin does not resemble the professor at all. Yes, but perhaps their faces are very similar. Are you suggesting that we should see now the demasked visage of the professor? I have the key, but it is strictly forbidden to open the lock. This is absurd! Pardon? I don't know what face you've carved onto your fancy figure beneath the mask, but clearly it won't be that of the actual killer. Indeed, the man's identity was never made public after all. I made a clip of me not being a failure. I saw that you added me here. There were lots of good moments on the Among Us session last night, though. The trial took place in a closed court. The proceedings were strictly confidential. The condemned man was summarily executed. His identity remains a closely guarded national secret. There is no possible way that a repository of tawdry exhibits could get its hands on that information. Well, dommage. It would seem you are unaware of the Tispels' principles. What principles? The family Tispels has always prided itself on sculpting its models a la perfection. Every detail, including the visage, is fashioned with complete fidelity. Et voila, our principles. There is a well-known legend about the Tispels waxwork from the time of the French Revolution. A member of the Tispels family is said to have made a waxwork of the queen who was executed. Oui, that is true. It was a century ago now. I believe the queen's face was carved in the minutes following her death, actually at the guillotine site. You are correct. The model is on display still today in the House of Horrors. We Tispels will stop at nothing to obtain a faithful replica of our subjects. Dear me, a somewhat disturbing tenacity of purpose. It is the only way I obtain a truly lifelike representation of the subjects. I like when she does this. And it has been my family's secret for generations. Do you mean to say that beneath that mask? Oui, the true visage of the killer is there. This is ludicrous. It's out of the question. The professor spread terror throughout Great Britain. As a result, the Madame Tispel's special exhibit remains extremely popular even today. The killer emerging from his own grave. It is a sight to behold. You should come. I think, Madame, it would be beneficial to hear your formal testimony on the matter. Yeah, you got a lot of imposter games last night, E-tier. I was only so lucky a few times. You will explain every detail of this macabre model, and your personal involvement in its creation. With pleasure. The special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse, in accordance with Tispel's family principles. I enlisted the aid of the gravedigger and created a mold for the head in the cemetery just before the interment. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night. Wait. Does that make Drebber the gravedigger since he had a shovel in the exhibit? As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered. The gravedigger? The man sanctioned this? Oui, I will do all that is necessary to achieve the true resemblance my family is celebrated for. Nobody else knew. Only the gravedigger. What harm did it do? So you truly saw it. The face of that monster. Okay. This is giving credence to the professor possibly being Japanese. And this could explain why Van Zeeks is so racist. Nipponese, yes, his favorite way to describe. But okay. So they're Japanese. And it has to be a character that we've seen, otherwise it wouldn't have impacts. I still have Mikotoba on my radar, Susato's father. There's something up with Strongheart too, if... Where's Ifrit? He's played the definitive RPG on racism and eggplants. Yeah. Well, he played the first few chapters. I don't think he played it more than that one day, though, E-tier. The eggplants it was too much. Naturally, I was aware at the time that his identity was a secret. But to spells would not be to spells if we did not insist on absolute fidelity to our sculptures. I don't believe this. I myself have seen the special exhibit at your museum, madame. A truly blood-curdling scene in which the murderer is emerging from his own grave. The scene it depicts was the subject of many rumors in London 10 years ago. There was 100% more than any of us. He's basically a professor of the knowledge. Oh, well. Yeah, so we all say hi to Ifrits. I have a newspaper from the time. Oh, gimme, 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 gimme! A special exhibit was placed upon the picture in this article. Oh, the special exhibit was based upon. It was the most detailed account of what happened, as reported by the eyewitness who saw it. Man rises from the grave. It's too absurd for words. Okay, we gotta look at this. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night. Oh,
Hi.
Asmin! Same signature. Hi. Wait, why, does that mean Asmin wrote the article? It's under the illustration. So, okay. So he's an artist. Okay. The public enjoy absurdity, monsieur. That is why I have reproduced the scene as carefully as possible in my museum. And it's a waxwork from the exhibit that was stolen some days before the incident at the Great Exhibition, wasn't it? That is correct. The professor you see before you here. Kevin. Steven says, sorry, I'm not shaking my head like normal because I have a headache. And if I do that, it'll go. Yeah, we're doing okay. Most puzzling. Counsel for the defense, proceed with the cross-examination. This waxwork links Drebber to Dr. Scythe. And there has to be some reason for that, which hasn't yet come to light. But I'll find it. I'll get to the bottom of what really happened. I'll prove that Dr. Scythe and Drebber were in on this crime together. Special exhibit in the House of Horrors is based on a rumor that shocked society in London. And that rumor would be a 10-year-old tale now, but one that no Londoner would ever forget. Ah, right. I know just the one you're talking about, I think. Of course, it couldn't be anything else. Yes, the story will never disappear. The tale of the condemned killer rising from the dead. That is the central attraction of my House of Horrors. The rumor was whispered all over the city, and it was like this. Hey, Cortex. Yeah, this trial has been really good. I think my favorite trial out of all the entirety of Ace Attorney that I've played. It was in Logate Cemetery behind the prison, in the dead of night after the execution of the killer. The interred professor slid back the stone slab covering his tomb and emerged from his grave. A young man who witnessed this felt a scream welling up inside him. But an instant later, he heard an ear-splitting gunshot from over his shoulder. The bullet struck the emerging corpse, and he fell motionless once more. The scream finally found its way from the mouth of the young witness, who turned and ran for his life. The corpse climbed out of his own grave. And then somebody shot him. Who was it? Nobody knows, even today. But remember, it was just a rumor. Perhaps nothing more than a ghost story. The good people of London, they loved stories like this. That is why it was in every newspaper across the capital. But was it just a story? I mean, this is exactly the scene that can be seen today at your museum, isn't it? Oui. The special exhibit was modeled on that very illustration. For a while afterwards, the contents of that article were reproduced in every newspaper imaginable. It's top 3 in the series. It seems so good. Oh yeah, last night's session was crazy. Cortex popped in, kind of late at night. I forgot that we played Gartic Phone at like 2 in the morning. Yeah, the Canadian Alliance was defeated time and time again. It was like 4 a.m. Yeah, I burned Essex to the ground. Madame, might I say something? I'm glad you enjoyed, Stephen. Please, go ahead, mademoiselle. When something is described as a rumor, it doesn't necessarily mean it's entirely made up. I believe that often rumors contain elements of the truth. Ah, I see that people from the East can be just as astute as the people of Europe. Can we be sure, for instance, that the professor's execution was successful? It is not possible for the dead to come back to life. Sorry? 10 years ago, I was there in Logate Cemetery. After the criminal known as the Professor was killed by hanging, I took a wax impression of his visage from the corpse just before it was interred. So I can assure you, the man was dead. Saturdays are impossible, either working or FGC locals? Yeah. I see. It would certainly appear that the condemned man suffered the intended fate. Yeah, that's true, Stephen. That was your first one in a while. An impression of the visage was taken directly from the corpse in accordance with Tispel's family principle. Is that true? Is that true of every waxwork in your museum, then? It is, assuming the subject is dead, of course. Live subjects have to cooperate in a similar way. I have letters from imprisoned criminals all the time, you know. What sort of letters? When my time comes, please make a waxwork of me. Comme ça. No! My museum is famous, monsieur. To be made into a waxwork is an honor, and for some criminals, a symbol of status even. Because nothing says hardened criminal better than wax. And it is thanks to one killer in particular that my museum has gained such popularity in London. I refer to the star of the special exhibit, of course, the Professor, whose form you claim to have captured by taking an impression from the actual corpse. There are no exceptions to the principles of Dispels. I enlisted the aid of the gravedigger and created a mold for the... Kevin! Okay.
Hold it!
Surely that's illegal, isn't it? It would seem the proprietress of this repository of novelties was blinded by monetary greed. It had nothing to do with money. The man is part of London's criminal history. That is why I had to sculpt him, to record this history. It is the raison d'etre, she's Emilika, of the Dispels Museum. But if the man was convicted in a closed court and sent for immediate execution, then surely nobody but the members of the judiciary present know the killer's true identity. I assure you, behind that mask is hidden the true face of the Professor. You realize what you're saying. Professor's identity is a national secret. I understand. And now that the truth about the special exhibit has been revealed, it must perhaps close. Of course it will. As will your entire museum if you don't tread very carefully, madame. That could be another interesting chapter in the history of my family, I think, don't you? So 10 years ago, on the night of the Professor's execution, you took a wax impression of the face from the corpse. Oui, exactement. I hid myself until he gave me a signal. I was there for a very long time that night.
Hold it!
You were there longer than you expected to be. I had some difficulties in capturing the subject's form correctly. As I removed the mask, the mouth of the cadaver fell open, and I had some problems with the chin. Dare I ask? The man had been dead for a short while already, you see. His muscles were relaxing, and consequently his chin would not align itself correctly. Oh dear. What a horrible thought. Under normal circumstances, I would have an assistant with me. However, that night, I was alone. And as a consequence, I missed my preferred window of time. What do you mean? When I take the impression of the visage of a cadaver, I always wait until 3 hours after death. Why 3 hours? Is that amount of time significant? It is because of rigor mortis. A wriggly mortis? It's the name given to the phenomenon that occurs in recently deceased bodies. As a rule, 3 hours post-death, the muscles in the body begin to stiffen. By approximately 10 hours post-death, the entire body is completely rigid and inflexible. And then, from that point on, the muscles slowly start to revert to their relaxed state. Drunk have... What's up?
But there was a tip of damage. Stepped on?
Oh,
So I
are you
was
okay?
wondering if yeah. Did it, right? Hold it. After. It was like a bottom of the bottom of a bowl or something.
The effect is often used to estimate the time of death when a body is discovered. Well, that was an education. if a slightly scary one. As the Mademoiselle says, rigor mortis commences 3 hours after death, and it starts in the jaw. I see, so that's why you wait. Before that time, the mouth falls open, and it is very difficult to do my work. Ugh, it's getting hard for me to do my work with all this talk of corpses. Yeah. I wonder about the information the courts just heard from Madame Tispels. It's significant. The information about rigor mortis that you just shared with us, would you mind including it in your formal testimony? I believe it could be significant, you see. Of course. I do not mind at all. I can't help feeling that, after this latest topic, the atmosphere in the courtroom has become extremely grave. This is no time for jokes, Miss Usato. Madame, kindly amend your testimony as discussed. Ben, sir. She wants to return to Japan. Took me a very long time because it was before the onset of rigor mortis. As dawn approached, I was very worried that I could be discovered.
Hold it!
You say that dawn was approaching. That was the time of day then, approximately. But what was the time of day? Well, I could not say. But when I left the cemetery with my utensils and wax, the morning light was becoming visible. The execution took place on the 17th, which had the earliest sunrise of that year. Indeed it did. First light would have been around 4:40 in the morning. That really is early. The fact is, I had very little time, so I finished my work in half an hour. It was necessary to complete the impression and bury the body before daybreak, of course. If somebody had discovered me there, it would have been a catastrophe, so I had to hurry. Is it me, or does Mr. Sholmes seem to be taking shape more quickly now, too? Certainly appeared to go to extraordinary lengths for your work, madame. I wonder, is what she just said particularly significant? Madame, those details about how long it took you to complete the sculpture and the early sunrise, could you include them in your testimony? I believe they may be significant. Of course, if you would like me to. You're quite right, Mr. Naruhodo. It is intriguing. Sunrise at 4 in the morning would absolutely be unimaginable at home, wouldn't it? It's not quite what I meant by significant. Is there a time in this autopsy that... Yeah. So, this timeline doesn't check out. Kindly amend your formal testimony then, madame.
I'll turn this lie into the truth.
With pleasure, my lord. Okay. I hurried to finish my work in the half hour before sunrise. Then I left as soon as the corpse was interred. Okay. So I need to present. It happened during the dark hour.
Objection.
The defense would object to the last statement. What? What? Wait, no! This proves it wrong! Um... took me a very long time because it was before the onset of rigor mortis. Okay, I'm gonna disagree with this because rigor mortis happens after 3 hours, they said, right? And this would be 4 hours.
Objection.
Madame Tispels, I have here an autopsy report that was filed 10 years ago now. It confirms the death of Professor following his execution at the gallows. And is that a problem? I believe it is, because your testimony and a particular detail in the report completely contradict one another. Quoi? Are you going to explain yourself, my Nipponese friend? According to her testimony, Madame Tispels was creating wax impression just before dawn, and at the time, rigor mortis had not yet set in. So, am I correct so far, Madame? You are, yes. As I said, the stiffening of the jaw is the first sign of rigor mortis, 2 to 3 hours after death. But the man's chin was limp, so he cannot have been dead for a long time. But on the other hand, if you look at Dr. Scythe's report, it quite clearly states the following. Death by hanging confirmed at midnight, 17th June. No! If the professor indeed died at midnight that day, then by the time you were sculpting his face, rigor mortis would already have set in. Oui, yes, you are right. You are right. The chin, it would have been completely stiff. In other words, this report is wrong.
Objection!
No coroner makes mistakes when recording the time of death. The very idea is absurd. In that case, there's only one possible conclusion. The execution didn't actually take place at the stated time. I'm... impossible! Order, order! Counsel, this is beyond folly. Not only do you indict the author of the report, Dr. Scythe, but you also implicate members of staff at Barclay Prison, where the execution took place. By heck, extraordinary! Not in my day!
Objection!
My learned friend appears to have overlooked one very crucial fact. What fact? The professor died that night, without question. He did. Of course he did. I moved the man's limp jaw with my own hands. Yes, the professor died that night. But what if he didn't die at the gallows? He didn't die at... Are you insane? What exactly are you suggesting did happen in that case? It's almost impossible to believe, but it would explain the link between Dr. Scythe, the professor, God, and that one other person of interest. Dr. Scythe, the professor, and, Drebber, right? So Drebber... Somebody shot him and killed him. Yeah, where's the Bohemian boy at? Low-key, I'm glad that he and the balloon guy left. I have evidence that will explain exactly what I'm suggesting happened that night. Counsel, present the evidence at once! The evidence that allegedly explains what really happened on the night of the professor's execution. Oh. The camera.
Take that!
What have we here?
Objection!
Before considering the night of the execution, I should strongly advise the defense to concentrate on what is happening right now in this courtroom. What? White, next time you present such nonsensical article— oh. Okay. Okay. I won't let anyone execute you, Mr. Naruhodo, not tonight. So wait, maybe it's the article then? The one with the illustration?
Take that!
What happened that night is written very plainly in this newspaper article. Executed criminal returns in the dead of night at local cemetery. You're suggesting it was a corpse coming back from the dead now. Well, if this article is to be believed, yes. The professor, assumed dead following his execution, emerged from his grave and was killed again. Don't be a fool, that's simply a rumor. Published by the Gutter Press.
That was really cool.
Can you be certain of that? Are you serious? Point is, as the article says, there was a witness to what happened. Yeah, it's some beef and, orange rice with a little avocado. My word, yes indeed! My oui! The young man who stole into the cemetery by chance that night.
Objection!
Of course there was a witness. The story didn't write itself, but obviously the man made it all up. Avocado toast? Oh no. And in any case, this was 10 years ago now. There would surely be no hope of finding him. On the contrary, my lord, we all know this witness well. What? Are you suggesting, counsel, that you've identified the person in question? That you know who claims to have seen these utterly incredible events take place? Yes, my lord. In fact, you could say that he's right here before my very eyes. My nephew got a lizard named Bacon for his birthday. Oh. And actually, it was a snake that you captured when... Oh, never mind. Oh no. To substantiate your latest claim, now then, counsel, who's the alleged witness of the staggering scene?
Take that!
The man in question is Mr. Enoch Drebber. Drebber? The previous witness? A special exhibit in the House of Horrors at Madame Tuspel's Museum of Waxwork recreates that decade-old scene in great detail. A condemned criminal emerging from the grave. And besides the tomb, a young man with a lantern stumbling upon the terrifying sight. And that young man is a 10-year younger Mr. Enoch Drebber. Alright. Her braid is iconic. Guys, I think we gotta make our save. Because I want to eat my dinner. And I think this is a good stopping point. It's been nothing but up, build up, and I can't wait until the next session. Such a good case. Amazing. Yeah. Okay, cool. Guys, we'll be picking up Ace Attorney again next weekend. I'm gonna get some rest, and I'll see you guys tomorrow for some Persona. So thanks for watching. Everyone have a good night.